Namaste. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday night Anamkara meditation program. With all my heart, with all my love, I welcome you to our program this evening. I'm just delighted you were able to come and bring the fullness of your being and the commitment you have to practice and being ones who do practice and walk the fruits of practice into the world. So you're rare, great beings. Great to be in your company here in this boundless field of consciousness, where differences are only an illusion. Separation is only an ephemeral appearance. Oh, for us to be able to truly know that and experience that moment by moment, now we do the practices. We come home to the infinitude of being in which that truth we abide in, moment by moment, and it's with us all the time because that consciousness is the very root of our being. We can't actually leave it. We occlude it by identification with the mind. So all the practices, all the philosophies, all the teachings, all the traditions, they're really about getting the mind out of the way and coming home to the infinitude of being. So that's what we're doing here this evening. And, we're doing that, and it's important to approach our practices from the highest intention, the highest aspiration, that we will get completely free, and we will be so empowered and so free that we will then be able to reach out to all beings in all times, in all places, who are suffering, and reach out in ways to help them become free. That's how grand, that's how true the power of the infinite one is when it comes through, because we've attained that highest state. And we see that in great beings who have attained that highest state. There are humans, and that's part of what we also recognize as having a human birth, having a human form, gives us the innate capacity, gives us the privilege of being able to know that so many other beings without a human form can't know that directly, can't experience that directly. So to make full use of this precious human birth, that literally, if we could see the timeline of the evolution of our individual consciousness, it would cross endless amounts of time and endless incarnations through all kinds of life forms, progressing to the point where we had accumulated the good karma to be able to have a human birth, so that we could really come to know the infinite as our own being, right? But we get enthralled by the capacities of this mind and body, and how the mind can create all kinds of illusions and delusions that keep us from then staying on track to know the highest, to keep that focus. Because we see reflections of it, and we go, oh, I want that. We think we want that, but we're seeing the reflection of the light of the infinite off of that in the moment, and we go cruising after that, and it isn't the infinite. It isn't the one. So along the way, we have to develop viveka, discernment, discrimination, to be able to see and stay true to that which is the same at all times in all places, that which is boundless consciousness, boundless rapturous, joyous love, Satchidananda. We come to know that, experience that, and then we can look at the world and see, this is the unfolding of the infinite creativity of our own power. And in the Eastern tradition, in the Shaivite tradition, called Shakti, the power of the infinite consciousness, the infinite creativity, the infinite knower. That's the truth of who we are. So by coming to know that and be fully empowered by that, it transforms our everyday life. There's many things that we can continue to carry on, but now, in the light of the consciousness of our infinite self, that light that illuminates everything with boundless love, compassion, wisdom, equanimity. so they're not rattled and shaken by what the ephemeral dance of all the dynamics of the world and forms and people and politics and all those things. We can act skillfully because we see, and we see clearly, but internally we're not shaken because we've come home to the truth of who we are. And so that's what our practices are about. That's what this evening is about, and approaching it that we have this sublime, boundless nature. And what we're doing is all the practices to help clarify the mind, free our identity from the mind. We identify with this thing called mind that when you look at it, it suddenly evaporates like smoke because where is it? You can't point to it. You can't take a hold of it. It's a string of thoughts held together by the thought of I am, the little I am. So when we see through that illusion, then we're opening the doors to the knowing the infinitude of being and being able to know the qualities of that. We know the qualities of limited being, limited identification, the roles, all the things that have gone into creating a conditioned mind. We know those so well, and we want to get free of that because so much of that is either outright painful or the pleasures, they don't last. And that soul's longing to know, what's the joy that doesn't fade with time? What's the peace that's unshakable? What's the compassion that is inexhaustible? What's the love that's unconditional? That's the eternal. That's ourself. That's what we come home to. So all the practices are aimed at that. So, in this time of, as we approach the Thanksgiving holiday, to give thanks, give thanks to having the privilege of a human birth. Give thanks that you have this vehicle for being able to know and to serve, to know the infinite as your own self, and to serve that moment by moment in everyday life, in all that you encounter, in all beings that we encounter. To be able to walk that into this world because we've gotten the gift of a human birth. How often do we approach that with that kind of sense of reverence, of awe, of this is so precious, what am I doing with this life? What's going to inform my life from the highest perspective? I don't want to waste this life. So we give thanks to having this precious human birth. We give thanks to having, the extraordinary wisdom teachings that are available in the world at this time. So many great teachers, masters, the literature from ancient traditions at our fingertips, so that it can help us be informed and really to clarify our vision by running the highest truths and teachings of sages and saints, the great beings, mystics of so many traditions, that all speak in one voice about the unity of it all, that it's all the divine, it's all ourself, it's all the infinite. To know that, and then to see it echoed in all these different traditions, that's a gift of this time. Because in past times, you may have only heard one tradition, and you had to travel who knows how long to find a master of that. Now we have so much available to us to help us realize the true purpose of a human birth, to know and to serve. So all these things come together, right? There's this confluence of so many factors that are beyond the mind to understand, that give rise to this moment, give rise to this birth, your birth, these circumstances, these challenges that we're facing collectively, but that we also collectively have access to the great wisdom and compassion that will empower us to meet the challenges here and now in a way that will transform the greed for power and wealth and possession and domination and exploitation and control, all that old paradigm of the mind that has to be cleared away. We have access to the wisdom and the power inherent to ourselves and illumined by so many great traditions and texts so that we can know that fully and live that into the world. This is an extraordinary time. So all this we can appreciate and be grateful for and helps inform us of what the importance is of practice. Because, the ordinary mind, I say this all the time, the ordinary mind makes things ordinary. And he goes, oh, practice, oh yeah, meditation. You just sit and, close your eyes, relax. It's very nice. I get up and I run around and do my to-do list. That's the ordinary mind's perspective. That's not the perspective of your divine nature that's calling you. Where's the urge to come and sit in meditation? To step away from the outside world? To go into a mysterious place we call the infinite, but it's unknown in the moment for the ordinary mind. So it has to go beyond. Oh, it has to embark on the hero's journey every time we sit to meditate. Because the hero's journey is that journey of stepping back from the ordinary world and all its conditioned aspects, going beyond into a mysterious realm where we're looking for something higher, greater. In this case, it's the wisdom, it's the direct experience of that divine nature shining through the world and ourself that gives birth to every atom, every molecule, every cell of your body. To know that. That's why you're sitting there to meditate. That's why we do the practices. Not to just be a more relaxed consumer and, victim of whoever the perpetrator is that's trying to, dominate, control, exploit. No, we're stepping out of that. That's the hero's journey. And each time you sit for meditation, you are enacting the hero's journey, leaving behind the ordinary world, entering a mysterious world, drawing on transcendent truths and powers and gifts. Mantra, that's what mantra is. Mantra, a throb of the infinite that we make use of in meditation to take hold of so that it can draw us into its source. Now, the very source of the mind. But the mind is so enamored with its own content, it has a hard time letting it go. So we keep having to say, oh mind, let go, come back to mantra. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Oh, what about tomorrow? I got to do that. No mind, let go, come back. We're going to do that 10 billion times to retrain the mind. But that's part of the hero's journey. That's part of the challenge. That's part of the tapasya in the yogic system, tapasya, the austerities, also tapas, the heat, the fire that's generated by going with the highest truth and the disciplines attendant to that and letting go of the ego mind. And the ego mind's going, no, I'd much rather pay attention to this. I'd much rather be out doing that. The friction between the ego impulse and the informed wisdom of your own highest self creates a heat. It's purifying. It's going to clear us of those old conditioned patterns. It's going to break them up so that we don't keep getting stuck in them. All this in practice. All this in our intention that we bring to practice. To know that this is an exalted activity for humans to be engaged in. Why it was so often sort of the precinct of only monks. People dedicated their lives to the sacred. That's who got to meditate. But householder sadhana, that's for this lifetime. That we should be able to live this into the world and live it in everyday life because it embraces everything about our lives, everything about our families, our children, our extended families, our communities. There is nothing that's left out. That, again, is the proclamation of the great traditions. In the Kabbalah, it says, Ein od milvado. There is nothing that is not God. Nothing that is not God. Well, you say the same thing in the Shaivite tradition when they say, Na shivam vidyate kvachit. There is nothing that is not the consciousness of the auspicious one, the infinite God. So that's what we're called to know. That is the highest purpose of a human birth. And so when we orient ourselves to that throughout the day, that's when we're really staying steady on our path. Because it's sort of a binary either-or condition for the mind, that we're either following the highest truths and where they direct us, or we're just following the ego mind and its impulses, its desires, its attractions, its aversions, and in so doing, creating more and more karmas that are going to keep us going for more and more cycles. And some of those karmas we unconsciously create because we're just following the mind. We're not evaluating that. We lost the discrimination. We became identified with this limited self. So what karmas are we going to produce? Good ones? We're going to produce bad ones? Then we're going to live them out over lifetimes. So the yogi would say, no, get clear. Because even if you don't get free in this life from doing the practices, you've set up the karmas, you've set up the conditions so that the next life you're going to be even riper. You'll start even further along because no effort made in moving towards the infinite is lost. So that's the good karma that comes out of doing practices, of living a life that's filled with that orientation, that when we're doing activities, how do we do it out of love and service? How do we take care of our family out of that loving, selfless service? How do we approach that kind of activity in the world as karma yoga, as selfless service, doing our dharma, being detached from the outcome of our actions? That's all yoga. That's all everyday life yoga. Yoga is not just something that happens when one sits. It's certainly not something that just is, asana and pranayama. Yoga is the whole thing, everything from the yamas and the niyamas to the highest samadhi. That is yoga. So when we're practicing, we're bringing this extraordinarily integrative perspective on how to transform mind and body, bring them into congruence with our highest self, know that, live that, and reflect that into the world. That's what we're given to do. That's what we're capable of doing. And that's what our programs are about supporting people doing. As much as possible, in every way possible in our lives, that's what we can engage in. As long as we remember. Well, that's such a tricky thing for the mind, how easily and quickly it forgets. So we create little rituals placed throughout the day. They help us remember. If you have a ritual for the morning, you have rituals in the morning for getting up, brushing your teeth, getting washed, and washing your face. What if you create a ritual that also includes, I'm going to get up, and while I'm doing that, I'm just say the mantra all the time. I'm going to Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, or Om Kalima, or Om Mani Padme Hum. You're going to say that. Now you're keeping your mind collected, oriented towards the highest, even while the body and the ordinary mind carry out the activities of the day. We start to have the awareness that the infinite is always present. Even when we're not giving it full attention, it's there. Right? So we become mindful of that, become aware of that. So all these are the ways that we make use of practice to gather our attention, because it's all about attention. What we attend to, we become. You focus on something, you start to become that, the thought, the feeling, the memory, that's what happens. When we become attentive to something, we tend to get caught up in it, immersed in it. The little ahamkara, the little I maker, develops a little sense of self around it, all that stuff, right? That's what we're cutting through by continually coming back. And it's why mantra has been talked about in yogic texts for hundreds and hundreds of years as the practice for this age, for Kali Yuga. Because it's a practice that can be done anytime, any place, all times, all places. And because it is a throb of that fully expanded consciousness, we're then attuning ourselves to that throughout the day. And especially for individuals who have begun to really experience the awakening of that power within themselves, the power of consciousness to know the infinite as their own self, that in the yogic tradition is called Kundalini Shakti. Then mantra is an awakened form of Shakti. And so it helps to feed that. It helps to calm the mind and body so they can be immersed in that. Helps to harmonize the mind and body. Helps to harmonize the flow of energy in the body and the mind. So all these things support that unfolding process. Because the reason why awakening Kundalini was the esoteric goal of all the classic yogas, Hatha Yoga, Mantra Yoga, Laya Yoga, Raja Yoga. They had as their esoteric goal the awakening of this innate power. Because when that power awakens, metaphorically, our practice shifts from just a mind-born, oh, I think I should do this, I want to do that, I feel like doing this, I think I'd like to meditate, oh, maybe not that long, gee, can I have another mantra? That's all in the mind. That's not us listening to the Shakti, and the Shakti's going, no, Om Namah Shivaya, one mantra. Stay with one mantra. Plumb the depths of this one throb of the infinite, and you'll go into the ocean of the infinite. So that shift that happens with awakening of Kundalini, where then pranayama begins to happen spontaneously, where asanas can happen spontaneously, where insights and revelations happen spontaneously, right? It's all empowering us to see beyond the mind and recognize that those experiences of revelation, that luminous quality of consciousness itself that shines in the moment, can't be summoned by the mind, can't be produced by the mind, can't be postured by the mind, can't be grasped by the mind, right? So it's that power that takes us beyond the mind into the truth of who we are. The truth. Oh, the truth of who you are? I am Shiva. I am Shakti. I am the infinite. By any name we want to call it. That's what it's drawing us to. And so to become immersed in that, that's what we want to fully become, sort of wave after wave, kind of washing away the conditioned mind, and it's clinging to, oh, but I'm just a little this, oh, I'm just a little that, or maybe I'm not worthy of this. That's all contracted mind. So we want to bathe ourselves in the truth over and over and over. One way we're going to do that, if you would like to join us, is going to be on December 13th. That's a Saturday. And we're going to do a sort of a mini retreat. And it's going to be primarily chanting, mantra, meditation, some walking meditation, question and answer, and some teachings about that, but primarily immersed in mantra and practice. And it's going to go from 7 a.m., that's Eastern time, to noon Eastern time. And everybody's welcome to join. It's via Zoom, so you can do a mini retreat from the comfort of your home. The information on that went out in today's e-newsletter, so you can find it there. And you can also find it, of course, on the Soul's Journey website and the Anamkara website. So I hope you'll be able to join us. It's the fee is by donation, so just give what you can and come and join us. If you need to leave early, some people have asked about that, that's fine. Come and stay as much as you can. As much as you can be immersed in that. A short bath, better than no bath at all. So if you can stay for the 5 hours, that's great. So I hope you'll be able to make that, and we'll talk about that the next time, because the next time we meet will be in December after this evening. So put that on your calendar, and I hope you'll be able to join us for that. Now we, a group of us who were meeting for a 6-session course on the Shiva Sutras, we just recently wrapped that up. And I thought I'd share some, because I've been talking some about the Shiva Sutras in satsang here. And the last section of the Shiva Sutras, there's 3 sections, deals with what's called anava upaya. And it's the upaya means the means of practice. Anava means sort of separate. You're in a state of duality, of difference. So it's the state that most people are in just everyday life. So the Shiva Sutras and all practices are aimed at meeting us where we are, because though we're identified with the mind in that state of separation, your infinite being there's no place to go. It pervades everything at all times in all places. So the illusion of being separate is what we're dissolving. Anavupaya is aimed at sort of the gross level of practice. What do we do when we saying mantra, when we're chanting mantra, when we're doing asanas to help ease the body, when we're doing some breath work to calm the mind? Those are all anava upaya practices. Doing japa on our mala or just doing japa in your mind, that's an anava upaya practice. So anava upaya practices are meant to embrace everyday life, our experience as we're going through life, and give us the means, the upaya, for divinizing every activity. And so in the Shiva Sutras, that's what that last section is talking about. And I just wanted to go over a couple of the sutras, or three of the sutras that came from that last section. And the first one is Shiva Sutra 3, chapter 3, the 15th sutra. Give full attention to the highest Shakti, the light of consciousness, the source of the world. So full attention. So it's instructing us on Anavopaya. We have a real sense of, oh, I have to shift my attention, right? My attention is getting jammed up in just seeing the details of the mind or the details of the world around us. And we're not shifting our attention to say, wait a minute, this is all, even as it is, the unfolding of the power of consciousness. Let me shift my attention and look through that lens. Because attitude and our ways of thinking shape our perception. Now, this is a well-researched fact in my professional field of psychology. Attitudes, thoughts shape perceptions, even perceptions of concrete reality. Many research studies showing that. So we're practicing, and the yogis knew this thousands of years ago, start shifting your mind in a very concrete kind of way. So I have to go, oh, wait a minute. You're not going to sustain it. The mind doesn't have the power to sustain that. You're not going to experience it fully into the depths of what it would be when it spontaneously arises. You're cultivating the conditions for that spontaneous arising. You're cultivating, literally, the neural networks that spontaneous experience is going to light up and be able to sustain. So the concrete practice of adopting an attitude of seeing all is Shakti, all is the one, all right? Rather than the mind going, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, it's not this, it's not divine, this is ghastly. No, we're setting all that aside, right? We know the mind and what it does, right? Now we're going to shift. We're going to shift to the great mind, the universal mind, the consciousness of your sublime, divine self, always present. So then the next sutra says, established in the power of Shakti, he is with ease steeped in the ocean of immortality. So asanasta sukham hriday nimajjati. Asanasta, asana, you'll recognize that, a posture. But this is the posture of Shiva consciousness. So that's saying, okay, give your full attention to the highest Shakti and know that's you. Shiva and Shakti are one. You are Shakti, you are Shiva. That to be established in the seat of that knowing is what it's talking about. So established in the power of consciousness, the seeker is with ease. Ease. This is the profound state of equanimity that Buddha talked about, great mystics, sages, when we know that, because it's unconditioned. Our ordinary states of ordinary mind at peace is because it's not being disturbed by things it likes, it doesn't like, or whatever. So it may touch on that, but this is the transcendent ease. This is the ease that you'll see, depicted in statues. For instance, when you see a statue like this, that's a statue of Kuan Yin. It's in a posture called royal ease. She's in that awareness of just pure unity, completely at ease, unflappable, unshakable. That's what Buddha called boundless equanimity. We want to come to know that seat. That's why we sit still in meditation, because the mind keeps going after movement and generates movement, because that's what keeps it and its content going. And that's all it is. It's like shaking up a snow globe and all the stuff that's going on, that's mind. Let it settle, mind disappears. Then it's just clarity. The mind likes all the shake because it knows, oh, you're going to stop doing that? I'm going to disappear. That's what we're getting beyond, okay? So we're coming home, this place of ease and equanimity that is the truth of who we are. And then the last sutra, actually, of the third section says, evenness of prana brings about unity consciousness. See, all is Shiva, all is Shakti, with evenness of breath and mind. Evenness. So that even flow of prana, because the flow of prana is intimately connected with the flow and quality of mind. And that's why, for, I don't know, decades, I've been teaching what we do with the harmonium often, with the hum as the breath comes in, and the sa as the breath goes out. The hum as the breath comes in, the sa as the breath goes out. This is the foundational pranayama. This is the foundational breathing, slower, deeper, more diaphragmatic, that transforms, and then we have tremendous now physiological research on how it impacts the body, the vagus nerve, the brain, the amygdala, all these things calm down. Yogis knew this is the way to bring about an evenness of flow of that. What is prana? Oh, prana is a creation of Shakti Kundalini. It's a way that Shakti, on its awakened part, keeps the life of the body going. Because when we talk about Kundalini being metaphorically asleep, that's only the aspect of it for knowing infinitude of being. It, in its awake aspect, it's the body. Everything about the body. All functioning of the body, mind, subtle body, causal body, all Shakti Kundalini. That's her just doing what it is to sustain this vehicle and give it the power of consciousness to move through the world and learn discrimination, learn viveka, learn renunciation, learn to be free from the being bound by going after attraction and aversion. Right? These are all the gifts of Shakti. So much more to be grateful for and thankful for that we don't even know necessarily is operating. So we're coming to home to the seat of knowing. That seat, again, of Shivoham. I am the auspicious one. I am that. Hum sa. I am that. That which includes all. That which is all. That gives birth to all. That transcends all. All I am. Hum sa. I am that. So when we've been doing that mantra, simply with the breath, the hum as the breath comes in, the sa as the breath goes out. It's why when we put out the videos, all the silent meditations have that guided component to it in the harmonium, sort of going on beneath the silence of the meditation, so that it becomes a way of attuning ourselves, slow and deep in the breath. Do the hum as the breath comes in, the sa as the breath goes out. The awareness of I am that. And that is all there is. Nothing. No one left out. That's what it is to know the truth of Shivoham. I am the auspicious one. That's where the practices take us. That's the fulfillment of the promise of a human birth. That we have this innate capacity. And then we can live it into the world so that we can all flourish together because we're all equally divine. We're all one. We're all waves on the ocean of the infinite, right? All. We're all intimately, universally connected. No difference, no separation. but flailing about in ignorance, those who don't know that, and experience the unbearable pain of being caught in that delusion. They flail about trying to become happy at the expense of others, at the expense of the planet, at the expense of all living beings. And we see that so flagrantly now. That's part of what Kali Yuga does. It highlights what's the outcome of the darkness of not knowing, and how important it is to return to that light of wisdom, of compassion, of fullness of being. So that's what we're doing in our practices, and that's what empowers us to then walk that into the world. And so what we're going to do now as part of that is to simply chant Om Namah Shivaya for a few minutes. And you'll see, chanting as a practice is a complete yoga. And it involves asana as posture. It involves pranayama, because you inhale, you chant, you inhale, you chant. It's slowing and deepening the breath. And it's running the mantra and the breath through your entire system, from the subtlest realms of the subtlest body to right down to the marrow of one's bones. This is one of the unique qualities of chanting. Then when we stop chanting, then you simply repeat silently the Om Namah Shivaya, or the hum and the sa, or whatever you like to do in the silence and the stillness, but with the awareness of I am that. Mantra bears fruit by our identification with mantra and letting go of identification with mind and body. Identify with mantra, that the mantra, the source of the mantra, in you, that's just one. That is one. Always it's one. Bring your attention to that. Plumb the depths of that. Come to know that. Live that. Abide in that. That's why we're going to do the retreat, so we can abide in that. That's why the mini retreat is called Abiding in the Sacred. The sacred? That is your true nature. Come home to that. So we'll chant for a few minutes and then just sit in the sublime stillness that is throbbing with Shakti. And in that stillness, you'll see her play if you look correctly, because every thought that arises is a filament of Shakti. Every feeling that arises, a filament of Shakti. Every sensation that arises, a filament of Shakti. Every memory that arises, a filament of Shakti. Look at them as, oh, that's just the Shakti. That's what the Shiva Sutras are talking about. Change your vision. Change your interpretation of reality. Bring it into alignment with the highest truth. Just watch everything arising and subsiding, all Shakti. Don't get involved in the content. See the energy that's giving rise and delighting in those forms and dissolving them. And then we dissolve them in mantra. Mantra is like the great inner fire, the great yagna. So thoughts arise, Om Namah Shivaya. Dissolve it in the fire, the fully unfolded Shakti of mantra. That's what we're doing. What a sublime practice. Coming home to the self, coming home to the truth of who you are, which is the truth of boundless, rapturous joy, the boundless, all-encompassing love, the profound compassion that wants the highest for all beings to be free of suffering, forever, free of all the causes of suffering. The unshakable equanimity, an equanimity that arises because it's knowing a sense of being that lacks nothing. What disturbs our peace is a sense of lack and want and need. In the fullness of your infinitude, of your divine, sublime nature, nothing is wanting, nothing is lacking. That's the very nature of it, is that fullness. Rest there. It's the only true place of rest for the mind. The mind will not know complete, unshakable rest until it comes to rest in the eternal. The eternal. eternal is you. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. I bow to the auspicious one. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 infinitude of being, the spaciousness, boundless, self-luminous. It's that space of awareness we shift our attention to. Thoughts may arise like sparks in the night sky, but the infinitude of space, that's what absorbs our attention. Rest there. Know, Sa, I am that. And we end with this prayer. And may all our practices truly benefit everyone. And may all beings know complete freedom from suffering. And may all the power, all the merit that we have generated through our practices here and now on our own go to the benefit of all beings at all times and all places. All suffering beings want to know freedom, want to know a happiness, a joy that lasts, a love that's all-embracing, a compassion that's inexhaustible, an equanimity that is unshakable. And that's what we are seeking. And may all beings come to know that. And may our actions and all that we gather through our practices aim at setting all beings free. All Shakti, all the power of the infinite arising in her countless forms. To know freedom, we come home to abiding in her, as that, beyond gender, beyond name, beyond form. Those are convenient appellations for the mind. To rest in that, and then to see all that's unfolding as our own sublime self, just as it is, just as people are, just as the world is that. That's why it's a transcendent knowing. It's prajna paramita. It's the highest wisdom. It's going beyond the ordinary mind that only sees duality. Go beyond the two eyes that are for seeing duality. Seeing through the singular eye of wisdom. Prajna paramita. The wisdom of unity consciousness. The wisdom that gives birth to all Buddhas. The wisdom that is birthing the fullness of your own being here and now. Know that. Take refuge in that by enveloping yourself in mantra and walking through the day with love, compassion, service for others. This is what makes our life divine, a reflection of our true nature. So thank you for being ones doing that, for engaging in practices, for living them into your life. This is such a rare occurrence in this time. So thank you for being ones oriented to the highest and living love, compassion, wisdom, and grace into this troubled world. Jai Ma, thank you. I hope you'll be able to join us for our Abiding in the Sacred mini retreat on Saturday, December 13th. Information's on the website. Welcome to join us. And have a great Thanksgiving next week. Great holiday. And remember all the levels of abundance we're given to be grateful for. Gratitude, one of the great virtues, to be grateful, to truly understand the gifts of grace unfolding as our life. That's what happens when we clear our vision. All that's unfolding is the unfolding of grace. Even the challenging things, to help us clear karmas, become solid in our equanimity, our wisdom, to have it be tested in fire and come out untouched, unscathed. All gifts, all gifts. And we celebrate it in that way. So, thank you for coming this evening. With all my heart, with all my love. I appreciate your being with us this evening. And I look forward to seeing you again. Jai Ma.